So very good afternoon to all. So we are dealing with unit number 2 in MRRC. So unit number 2 is with respect to pulse width modulation. So till last class we have seen about the properties of ideal single phase rectifier. Then we have realized the nearly ideal rectifier, then single phase converter system incorporating an ideal rectifier. Then we dealt with the losses and efficiency and all. Now let us go on to PWM concept. So what are the various types of PWM technique which is available. Then we will see about device selection for rectifier. So what type of rectifier it is. So based upon that you will select the device. Then we will discuss about IGBT based PWM rectifier. So this three topic we will discuss today. Remaining is very simple, that we will take it up for tomorrow's session. Okay, so let us start with the PWM concept. So PWM is pulse width modulation, or sometimes we will call it as pulse duration modulation also. Both are same, whether you call it as PWM or PDM, both are same. If you want, when you write papers, so something to be in little bit different, if you want to mention, then you can even mention as PDM also. So it is a method for reducing average power. That is what you have to understand. So PWM itself is turn on plus turn off. So if you go on increase your turn on, which is called as duty cycle. So when you increase your duty cycle itself is nothing but turn on. Okay, that I will even tell it in the next slide. So by varying this duty cycle, what you are doing is varying the average power delivered. So when duty cycle is more amount of average power will be there. If you are reducing the duty cycle, obviously the average power will come down. Okay, by electrical signal, by effectively chopping it in up to discrete parts. Okay, so the main thing is it is not continuous, it is a discontinuous. The average value of voltage fed to the load is controlled by turning the switch between the supply and the load on and off at a faster rate. So this is highlighting point. So when you say you go incorporating PWM technique, then the average value of voltage fed to the load is controlled by turning the switch between the supply and the load by on and off at a very faster rate. So if you do at slower rate, then it will become discontinuous mode. So in discontinuous mode you will not get a constant output voltage and current. So voltage and current will touch at every duration of time, it will touch 0, then that is called as discontinuous. So we need only continuous output, so we will go for faster rate. Longer the switch is on compared to the off period, higher the voltage power supplied to the load. So if you keep it for longer duration of time at turn on, then obviously the power delivered to the load will be more. So don't say it as buck boost and all. Whatever you do, it is only how much duration source is given to load. So that is why we call it as a power. So how much our power is being transferred from the source to load side. So duty cycle. So we may wrongly, even sometime we get misguided. Duty cycle is not both T on plus T off. Only T on is called as duty cycle. Okay, T on plus T off is called a total period. So term duty cycle describe the proportion of on time. So how much time you try to on, that is called duty cycle, to the regular interval or the period of the time. So let us say if you are operating 25 kilohertz, then the T on plus T off should be 1 by 25 kilohertz, and the duty cycle is how much duration of time of that 1 by 25 kilohertz you are turning on. So that is called a duty cycle. So duty cycle is expressed in percent. So 100% duty cycle which is fully on, we will not go for 90 plus as well as 0 to 10. So from 0 to 10% of on also we will not go. Similarly, more than 90% we will not go, because we know something called slew rate. Slew rate is, see, if I ask you to do any work, 100% the instant at which we say you will not start the work. For example, if you have kids at home, see, if you ask them to do any work, they will not respond as sudden. So which means their slew rate is more. So all the devices also has slew rate. Slew rate is rate of change with respect to time. So if I say on, then it may take some time to turn on, and similarly it takes some time to turn off. So if it is taking some time and I am giving more than 90, what will happen is it will may cross the period, or there may be any misfire. So what we will usually do is duty cycle will be varied only from 10 to 90 or maximum of 95. Okay, when a digital signal is on off of the time of the other off of the time, then the digital signal has duty cycle of 50%. So if T on as T off is same, then it has been operated at 50%, which will be like a square wave. Okay, so now let us see various duty cycles. So first duty cycle is 50% on and 50% off, then 75% on and 25% off, and this one is 25% on and 75% off. The thing you have to remember is period is same. So I am not changing the period, I am changing only the turn on time. Okay, so next is various types of PWM technique. So first one is single pulse width modulation technique. So for the entire period I will give one pulse. Okay, I repeat, say if I am designing 25 kilohertz frequency a particular converter, and if I say it is a single pulse, means only one pulse will be given, not a train of pulse. So used in a single phase circuit, changing the width of the pulse to the control of on time or the control of gate signal. So this will not be used in converter and all, it will be used in a switch where you try to turn on and turn off. So a switch to turn on and turn off alone, if you use any application, then you use for single pulse width modulation technique. So even I think you might have done a simulation with a 4 switch inverter circuit. In that 4 switch inverter circuit, we call it as H bridge. Okay, in H bridge you will have 4 switches. So in each leg you will have 2 switches, and each leg you will have one top switch and bottom switch. So what we will do, when top switch is on, obviously bottom switch should be off. Again, if the bottom switch is on, sure top switch should be in off condition. So first leg top switch and second leg bottom switch you will try to on, then after a particular time you will change it, the second leg top switch and bottom. So here for the entire period I am either on or off. So that is called a single pulse width modulation technique. So you can see here you have a reference and you have a carrier. This is to tell about T on. So this is how you have to understand and do your simulation in MATLAB. So in MATLAB, when you want to do this, you have to do like this. Take a inverted triangle. So if in this inverted triangle, if I hit a DC line, so if the DC line is increased further, then the pulse width will be more. If the DC line is less, the pulse width will be less. So this is how you have to do closed loop operation. So closed loop, this ER, that's reference is from your, usually you will have, see for example you want a converter to be operated at 24 volts. So what you will do, 24 is your reference, output you will measure the voltage, then compare the two voltage, you will get the error. Okay, so let us assume that at the time of starting your output of the converter will be 0 and your reference is 24, the error is 24, so which is maximum. So you will get a DC value. Okay, if the voltage is start building up, this error will come down. So that is nothing but a DC line. So initially this DC line you will keep it in 24. So when you keep it 24, you will get a maximum width. So maximum width will leads to maximum output. Then again now error will come down. So this line will slowly come down and reach an instant where at that instant the required output will be there. So this is how you are doing a closed loop for a single pulse. So this is called reference and this is called a carrier. So you can see here for the entire off cycle you are getting only single pulse. So you are getting a single pulse here for positive off cycle and negative off cycle. So this pulse will be given to the for example, let us say this is positive off cycle and this is negative off cycle. So positive off cycle, we might have seen that in H bridge circuit there are 4 switch. So top there are 2 legs and each leg has a 2 switch. So one on the top and the next on the bottom you will give this switch, and for the next 2 person you will give the switch and you will repeat and you will get a sine AC output. So you can get a variable AC output depending upon the carrier and the reference. So now we move on to multi-pulse width modulation, the number of pulse width modulation. So here when you see here, let us assume here, so when the reference is here, there is no output here, and similarly there is no output in this region. So what happens is, it is not a perfect output, so there is more region where you freely leave it. So now in multiple PWM you generate more number of pulse for the inside that particular period itself. So you can see here, so like this. So there for the entire period I had only one carrier I compared with the reference. Here I have increased the number of carriers, so I have increased. So for rather getting as a single pulse, you will get multiple pulse. Again you can see here, based upon the error I can change the width. So if the error is more, this line will be at this particular instant, then the pulse width will be of this magnitude. So gradually by reducing the error, the pulse width will also reduce. So this is how closed loop is being done. So you can do closed loop with a single pulse, then you can do closed loop with multiple pulse. So in multiple pulse, each pulse can be varied by the carrier. The frequency of the triangle wave is greater than that of the single pulse with modulation, and it is decided. So here you can see, here the frequency is less. When you compare here, the frequency is very high frequency. So whenever you go for converter application, you talk about 25 kilohertz and all. So this is how we have to do. But when you say positive, negative and all, this is for an inverter application. So for an inverter where you say it as positive, negative, whereas when converter you will talk about only in unidirectional. You doesn't talk about the negative and all. Okay. So next comes your sinusoidal pulse width modulation. So in sinusoidal pulse width modulation, the AC output which you are trying to get, we are trying to get it as equivalent to your sine. Okay. So when you take your application of ceiling fan at home, it is a single phase capacitive start induction motor or capacitive split induction motor, your normal ceiling fan at home. So in this case, you have a two-phase winding. One is normal phase winding, another one is the same AC supply passing via a capacitor. So there will be an angular difference between phase A and the phase B, which is generated by the capacitance. Now then, since it is from Tamil Nadu TNEB, it is a pure sine. So there will be a smooth rotation of your fan, and if suddenly power goes, and if you use an inverter at home, if the inverter is square wave, then you can see the same fan, it will put some sound and it will have some vibrations. So that is the drawback in square PWM. So that is why they are moving to sine PWM. So initial days they were using only multiple PWM to generate your AC output, but then they moved on to in order to reduce the noise as well as the loss, they moved to sine PWM. Indicates the generation of output of pulse with modulation with the sine wave as a modulating signal. The switching time of PWM signal can be obtained by comparing a reference sinusoidal wave. So here we are taking reference as sinusoidal. So here you can see the reference was only a DC, whereas here reference I am going to take it as sinusoidal. So what will be the carrier? Carrier, there won't be any change. Carrier will be your triangle with high frequency. This type of pulse width modulation is widely used in industrial application. The RMS value of the output voltage can be varied by varying the modulation index. So the width you can vary. The modulation index can be varied by varying the input sign. So rather using as a reference here, okay, so this is how. So when you vary this frequency, the RMS will vary, and this triangle is been cutting at this particular various position with the various width. So depending upon that, you can see here initially the width will be less and the width will gradually increase, and then width will gradually reduce. So it is not sine, but it is a square with varying amplitude. So the square with varying amplitude is nothing but similar to a varying output voltage with respect to time. So when it is varying output voltage with respect to time, it is like a sine. Okay, so that is why we call it as sine PWM. Then comes hysteresis bandwidth modulation. So when you want to oscillate any output between a particular band alone, then you will go for hysteresis way. This is usually used in closed loop, where when you want to reduce the error further, see, if I am I am putting a closed loop system. In a closed loop system, I am getting an output, say for example I want to make it as 24, but the output is oscillating between some particular values. Let us say oscillation is between 20 to 30, then you will not accept it, because that is not, you say you are not obtained a correct value of 24. So what I can do is I can incorporate hysteresis control. So in hysteresis control, what I will do, I will set the upper band and lower band. So the output should vary only between that particular band. So you will have a normal controller followed by hysteresis controller. So that is hysteresis pulse width modulation. So switching frequency of power DC is not fixed continuously and will change depending upon the magnitude of the frequency of the reference signal. The main benefit of this control scheme is the ability to respond rapidly to the load and the line. So this is how it will be. So we will call it as upper limit and lower limit. So between this upper limit and lower limit, I will try to vary, so that this is called an hysteresis control. So normal hysteresis itself is hysteresis is nothing but it will go to saturation beyond a limit, both in positive as well as in negative. But if I don't want negative, then you can keep it 0 and 1. But if you want a circuit where you will go for minus to plus, similarly you can fix the upper limit as minus and lower limit as plus, or vice versa, lower limit as minus and upper limit as plus. Okay, so that depends upon whether it is inverter or converter application. Next comes space vector pulse width modulation. Here it is we all know it is a technology by which you generate an AC. That AC should be in phase with your TNEB. So initially we were having synchronization methods and all. We try to generate 3-phase AC and we will try to go for synchronization and all. Rather directly we have a space vector PWM technique, where I will take 3-phase AC supply reference. I will try to identify the zero crossing. From the zero crossing, for the 3-phase I will get the 3-phase zero crossing. Then from at an instant, this 3-phase zero crossing will be at 120 degree, and based upon the instant at which I am trying to sense, I will identify what is the sector. Then the entire sine wave is divided into 6 sector. From the 6 sector I will identify now TNEB is in which sector. Then from that sector I will start giving the firing pulse. So this is called that 6 sector. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. AC 0, AC at maximum 120, and then negative 0. So it is like representing an AC waveform in a 360 degree. So we all know it will start from 0, it will reach as the maximum. At 180 degree it will come to 0. Again it will go to maximum. At 360 it becomes 0. So 360 is a circle. So that 360 we are dividing into 6 sector. So at each and every instant we will identify the TNEB value, and we will try to find the sector. Then that particular sector we will fire, and then we will not again and again check. Once we get the sector, then next sector we will automatically proceed, and the inverter output which we get will be in direct synchronization with your TNEB. So that is the advantage of space vector. Okay, now let us move on to the next topic, which is nothing but device selection for rectifier. So what type of rectifier you are going, based upon that you have to select. So if it is an uncontrolled rectifier, so uncontrolled rectifier, in uncontrolled rectifier I don't want to go for any power semiconductor device, just diode is more than sufficient. And off controlled is where you will use diode plus some semiconductor devices. Then full controlled, which is nothing but only semiconductor device you will use, you will not go for any diodes and all. Again in the full controlled, whether it is conversion from AC to DC or DC to AC. If it is from AC to DC, I will go for SCR. That is the best fellow till now, because it is able to withstand very high current, and switching is very high fast with respect to conversion from AC to DC. If it is vice versa, DC to AC, then that SCR will not work. I will go for MOSFET and IGBT. So they may ask us a 2 mark this question, device selection for rectifier. Then you have to say that depending upon the type you have to select the switch. If it is uncontrolled, then you will go for diode. If it is off control, you will go for diode plus a power semiconductor device. And if it is full control, we will go only for semiconductor device. See, this is just a single phase and this is three phase. In case of single phase, the number of switches will be less. In three phase, the number of switches will be more. And in fully controlled, when you go for see, rectifier is a common term. Rectifier is for both AC as well as DC. See, rectifier involves AC to DC and DC to AC both. Okay, don't get misguided. Rectifier converters also we call it as a rectifier. Okay, which means it is converting DC from one value to other value. That's all. In other words, a rectifier is an AC to DC as well as DC to AC. So in full controlled, when you go for AC to DC conversion, we use SCR. Okay, or we can use transistor. When it is DC to AC, you go for any voltage control device. There are two well-known voltage control device. One is MOSFET and IGBT. When you will go for MOSFET is when you want to operate at very high frequency, we go for MOSFET. When you want to operate for a load which draws more current or for high current application, I go for IGBT. Okay. Now the next topic in your unit is IGBT based PWM rectifier. So here you have input is AC, you are going to convert it into DC. So let us start. This is a basic circuit. So you will, this is what I called as H bridge. Okay, so this is a top switch on this leg and this is a bottom switch on this leg. So sequences T1, T4 will be operated, then T3 and T2 will be operated. So for this circuit you can go for single pulse, multiple pulse, sine PWM and whatever you want. Okay, so you can go for various PWM techniques. So here all these four are IGBT devices. So now when you turn on this particular two switches, then the positive half of your sine wave will be across this capacitor and the capacitor will get charged. Then whenever the sine voltage, positive sine voltage starts to reduce, this capacitor will start to discharge and this capacitor is used as a filter. Okay, we try to reduce the ripples. So higher the value of capacitor, the more ripple will be reduced. But what we are studying is MRRC. If this capacitor is increased, then obviously THD will increase. So this is the major reason for THD. Okay, so second is with additional filters. So in order to reduce the effect of the capacitance, see, capacitance has a property of high inrush current, which means they charge at very fast rate and they discharge. Okay, so when they charge at very fast rate, they draw input current. The input current will be in spike, which means, see, when you turn on this two, actually speaking, what is happening, you try to see your AC is coming to this switch and it is forming a capacitance and then it is closing, leave the load. So this first capacitor is also parallel with the load. So what is the basic thing of capacitor is high inrush current, we will say, which is capacitor will charge at a very faster rate. So very faster rate, if this fellow is charging, you will draw a spike of current, which means the current will be spike in nature. So it will increase as fast as and it will try to charge this capacitor. So what happens, load is a source is not delivering a constant current, whereas load is delivering a spike. So wherever you say spike, it is nothing but THD or harmonics. Spike comes in your circuit, then that is called THD. So how to avoid this? Very easy, put an inductor. So if you put an inductor has a property of doesn't allow rate of change of current. So you will slowly, you will try to charge this, and this is a modification in same single phase circuit. So now what happens is this inductor will not allow at a faster rate, so thereby it will try to reduce. So the spike, input spike will get reduced. Next, you are a three phase circuit, same IGBT based PWM for three phase. Now the switching pattern will be, you will turn on T1, T6, then T2, T4, then T3, T5. You can operate in both 120 mode and 180 mode. We all know in 120 what you have to do, and 180 mode of operation. Two mode of operations are there. So either in any two mode you can operate it. So the output will be again given to a capacitor. So capacitor will try to charge and then try to discharge. So whenever this input voltage starts to reduce, the capacitor will start to discharge. whenever the input voltage is, see, once this capacitor discharge, again it has to be charged. In the next cycle again the capacitor will try to charge and try to deliver. See here, this is parallel, so whatever occurring in the capacitor will be occurring at the load also. So whenever the load voltage is reducing, this capacitor will try to discharge. So now let us go for a circuit where both conversion of AC to DC and conversion of DC to AC is there. Now the question is, I can use only IGBT. So in this circuit and the previous circuits and all these circuits, so let us say all the circuit, there is no mandatory that I have to go for IGBT. Okay, only thing is this capacitor will have high inrush current. So high inrush current will be flowing across this two device also, and if this two device is unable to withstand that high current, the device will fail. You may think that this circuit is so simple, but when you practically do with MOSFET, at the first cycle itself the MOSFET will fail, because MOSFET cannot withstand very high current. You may think why that high current is coming, because this capacitance, what this fellow will do is, it will make 5 times of the load current will be the inrush current. Say let us assume you design a rectifier circuit, just you take the AC, put the rectifier, this is a rectifier circuit, and put it at load. Let us assume load draws 10 amps. So what happened due to this fellow called C, 10 into 5, so 50. So but you might have not put a MOSFET who is able to withstand 50 amps current. In that case what will happen, at the first fire itself this fellow will burn, or it will get blow off. So that is why we go for IGBT. IGBT can withstand a current of around, even now you have semicron IGBT which can even withstand 1200 amperes also. Okay, very high operating current. So that is why, but this circuit IGBT is not mandatory, but we are showing IGBT based rectifier. Okay, but when you come to this circuit, this part you have to use only IGBT. You cannot go for SCR or transistor, because you can see here you have single phase AC. What is the circuit is connecting a 3-phase motor with the available single phase. Okay, from the single phase I am going to convert it into 3-phase and I am going to use it. Okay, so it is a circuit for converting single phase AC to 3-phase AC. So this, all this 4 switches is used for rectifier. The capacitance will charge and it is used to reduce the ripple. Then from the DC output on this side, this is again been converted into AC with the help of the 6 switches. See, we have seen PWM and then we are coming here. So I think now you should be clear. You are applying some PWM technique here to generate your AC. So you can apply sine PWM or space vector PWM. So apply this space vector PWM and try to get your AC. So are you clear now? The rectifier is both conversion of DC to AC and AC to DC. So with this we will try to stop today's class. If you have any doubts, you can ask.